Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome to our session where our charter member of this history study group, Juan Jose, is here all the way from Dusseldorf. I've described how instrumental he was, so I won't repeat that. You've seen me writing about it. I want to also acknowledge Ramsey and Janet. They started this fine tradition 15 years ago where we got together monthly face to face, and we're just trying to continue their tradition. Especially want to thank Carol and Barbara who are here in attendance for joining up with Juan Jose early on. I want to thank Aiko, who's been involved all along and has been the technical support person. She's also runs a tight ship at home, but she's cut me some slack so I can spend some time on this history project. So, I welcome all of you new attendees who weren't able to come today, but for joining our fine group. So without further ado, I turn things over to Juan Jose, and you can see in the background his slides. And so Juan Jose, take it over.
Okay, hello everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
I can because I'm in the
Yes.
same room with you.
I can, definitely.
So I've named this presentation Juan's Adventures 2022. As you can see, this slide is taken from the company that I work on. It's not sponsored, but they were the ones who transferred me to Germany. So a big shout out to them, to Prism Group. So first of all, thank you for being here. It feels really good to see you guys again. It feels like a prom reunion. I still remember probably 2 years ago that we started this from the scratch, just meeting and talking about, mainly listening to John talking about civilization, history. And look at that. It's good that you guys kept the tradition and it's really fulfilling. So let me just start off with a simple question. What happens when you take a curious Colombian to Europe? So what will happen will be lots of trips. And that's what I'm going to be telling you today about. And this will be me. So this started off probably close to 1 year ago when I was transferred to cold Germany from warm Colombia. All right. So I'm currently living in the city of Düsseldorf, Germany. Düsseldorf has a population of 650,000 habitants, and it's currently the capital of North Rhine-Westphalia, which is one of the most important states within Germany. According to Mercer Quality Living Survey, Düsseldorf has the 6th best quality life in the world, a position that has been held since 2010. And one key fact that I truly love the most is that it has the longest bar street in the world. So that was key when moving there. So my first trip outside of Germany had to be Belgium. I heard so many things about Brussels that I just needed to go there. It was a blast. It was a beautiful city. Some key facts. Brussels International Airport is the world's largest chocolate selling point. There are 3 official languages in Belgium, which is French, German, and Deutsch from the Netherlands. And there is a coffee called Delirium Coffee, where you could buy more than 2,000 beers from around the globe. And it holds many records. I tried to buy a Colombian beer, but when I found out that it costed like 22 euros, I stuck to the all cheap Belgian beer. So after Belgium, I said I wanted a break. I wanted to speak a little bit of Spanish after listening to so many German and so many French. I went to Spain. Madrid is one of the greenest cities in Europe, as well as one of the biggest capital cities in Europe as well. Madrid's name means place of abundant water. It's home of the oldest restaurant in the world, which I got to go, and the food was delicious. Seeing the Guernica from Picasso was something else. And the Prado Museum, it's one of the best museums I think one could visit due to all its beautiful paintings, such as Velázquez that we see around here, as well as Goya, many Rubens, couple of Rembrandts, Caravaggio's. It was a beautiful city. So before I go here, so around this time, I received a call from a couple of friends from Colombia, and they told me that they were gonna visit me in Düsseldorf and wanted to make a trip. So what happens when you take a group of 25-year-old Colombians that go to Europe for the first time? What will be the first place they will wanna go? Of course, Amsterdam. So we fly to Amsterdam, and it was great. So Amsterdam is a lovely city. Some key facts is that cyclists can kill you and they don't really care. They will just run over you. The red street ladies work in front of the main church, and that's actually accepted by the church. A little story over here is that way before, they don't really know if the church was first or the brothels were first, but it was actually a partnership within the two of them. So what happened is that many sailors will get to Amsterdam, and they will deliver whatever they needed to deliver, or buy whatever merchant they needed to buy, and they will go into the brothels. As soon as they stepped out to the brothels, there was a sign, or that's what they say, there was a sign in the church that you're going to sell again without committing to your sins, without speaking to God about your sins. You cannot do it. So come to church, pay a fee, and then you are off to go sinless. So it was a great partnership, and it's remained like that for until today. I got to visit the museum of the city, on which I saw this huge, beautiful Rembrandt and a couple of Vermeers, and that was worth the trip. After Amsterdam, I fell so in love with its culture that I said to myself, why not going to one place that once belonged to the Dutch people as well, to the Holland as well. So I went to New York, to New Amsterdam, which is the name that it used to have during the Dutch Golden Age in 17th century, as it was a zone from the Netherlands, until 1664, when the England came and they took that territory and they called it New York. Another fact is that rats can kill you and they don't even care, mostly in the subway. And New York is home of the first pizzeria in America. Of course, I had to go to the museums, and the Monets and the Van Goghs were just something else in this city. So I'm back in Germany, and I wanted to explore a little bit more north, to know the wonders of this culture that it's so new to me. So I decided to embark on a trip to Copenhagen, which is a beautiful city. The Danish, I'm just going to give you a random interesting facts. The Danish language has no word for please, although they are really friendly and they are really happy. You can see that in their face the whole time. They actually have the oldest flag in the world. And guess what? A biker could also kill you, but they will actually care a little bit, unlike people from Amsterdam. And this is one of the cities. Every time I go to a new place, I will always ask myself, would I live here? And Copenhagen is one of the cities that I would definitely like to live, because of its history, because of how clean it is, because of its amazing transportation system, and the nice views. After this, I decided to go from Denmark to Stockholm. Stockholm was a great city to visit as well. It's built on 14 islands. It's actually called the Venice of the North. Stockholm is one of the cleanest cities in Europe, as well as it has 1/3 of its residents. It's mainly immigrants, and the Nobel Prizes are awarded in Stockholm. One thing that is truly particular about this city is that it had all of its metro stations have its particular artistic dynamic. So just going through the metro stations was a delight for me. After Estocolm, I said to myself, hey, I'm already up here. Why not going to Finland and try to see the Northern Lights? So first off, I went to Helsinki, and then I went up north to a little town called Rovaniemi and Lapland to get a chance to see the lights. So let's see how it went. Helsinki was beautiful. It was clean. It was little smaller than I expected, but it was great. There are saunas everywhere in the country. It's the happiest country in the world. No Northern Lights in September are available. This is actually home of Santa, and Finns are the biggest coffee consumers in the world. So I will relate that to why they are so happy. I come back to Germany, and then I wanted to see one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, to my opinion, since it was a city that, first of all, had really cheap beer. During the Second World War, it remained almost untouched, and it has a castle that is actually the largest ancient castle in the world, with 570 meters long. And there is actually an interesting story about the clock that is in the main plaza in Midtown. So this was done by a really known engineer from Prague, and it was so beautiful that the king at that time sent an assassin to have this clock master be killed, because he didn't want any other king, or he didn't want him to make another clock such as this one. So the thing is that he didn't succeed on killing him, but actually the clock master, before he died, because he died pretty soon after that, he decided to like make an arrangement on the clock so that it will stop eventually. And when he died, the clock stopped, and many horrible stuff started to occur in the city. There was more hunger, there were more illness within the city. So they managed to fix the clock, but they say that the clock can never stop working. Otherwise, many illnesses, many horrible stuff will occur again in the city and in the country. I also got to visit the Lennon Wall, and I got to meet this amazing artist called Alphonse Mucha, which is one of the greatest, most known artists from Prague, as well as Kafka.
Yeah, explain the Lennon Wall is John Lennon.
Yeah, it's John Lennon.
It's not Vladimir Lenin.
Oh yeah, of course it's John Lennon. Then I said, wait, why not giving it another shot to seeing the Northern Lights? So I decided to take a trip to Norway, to Oslo. I didn't have any luck seeing the lights, but I did have luck seeing the beautiful city of Oslo, which is covered. It's one of the cities with the most nature places, green places within Europe. The Nobel Peace Prize award ceremony is held every year over here. The Frogner Park is the world's largest sculpture park located in Oslo. This one was my favorite sculpture, which reminded me of my nephew when he was younger. The Museum of Oslo, it's by far one of my favorite ones. And I also got to learn a little bit more about the Utoya Island attack, just to give a brief context of what this was. There was a terror attack. A Norwegian guy went into an island that was occupied during that time by mostly 100 and something students who were camping over there under a foundation. So this attacker decided to shoot and kill many of the students. But what's remarkable, and what I think it's the most interesting about this tale, is the speech that was given after this terror attack by the president, and mostly by the people. They decided that they will not, let's say, advocate to more violence. They will not, let's say, cause a fight against the terror group that caused this. Of course, they were going to pursue them, but the main speech was about love, was about taking all the codes, all the moral, all the ethic that is within the Norwegian families and embrace them even more, because that's what's gonna get the country to a higher level. So they are not gonna incur in more fights, incur in wars. They mainly wanted to focus on more love, friendliness, and aperture to the society, which was remarkable for me.
Oh, interesting.
Of course, I had to go to Berlin, as it is the capital city of Germany. I do need to make the remark that most of these trips were done by train. It just was easier to have my face on a plane, but I did mostly travel on bus or train, so all the way ecologic. Berlin was something else. First of all, it's considered to be one of the cheapest capital cities in Europe, which I can, from my belief, it was. Berlin is 9 times bigger than Paris. Just a curious fact that 950 doner spits are eaten every day. The history about donors are really interesting and still causes some dialogues within the country, because some Germans think that this is a traditional German dish created in the 70s. Some Turkish believe that this is a Turkish dish. So the thing is that in the 70s, a Turkish guy living in Berlin created the doner, and that's how it was born. So yeah, it could be either German or Turkish. It's up to the person who says it. I also wanted to talk about the Ukrainian war. So since day one, since the war started, Germany has been really keen and open to receiving refugees within its land. The central point was Berlin, of course, but eventually when I was in many of the central stations of every city, after 2 months of the war starting, you could see many signs redirecting Ukrainian people to go to a certain office so that could receive help and some aid. So that's something that I'm really grateful and that I really respect towards the German government, because they've really been open to helping refugees and immigrants. Of course, due to this war, many prices have increased, such as the energy price. What some of the measurements that I've taken so far, besides turning off many of the lights from monuments within the country, was also giving a sort of relief to every household of 300 euros, so they could pay and like this sudden increase in energy prices. So I've always asked most of my German friends or people that have been in Germany for a long time what the best thing to do in Germany during winter is. And they always tell me the same thing: to live, because it's awfully cold. But it's mainly a joke, because Christmas markets are session really nice. They really take this into heart, and they like to show that Christmas is a big season over here, and you can feel it. So after feeling a bit of German winter, I decided to take a break and to go to somewhere warmer, as my body was not built for this kind of weather. So I've been here in San Diego for close to 2 weeks. Key facts about this: high rental prices. I've asked around some people that I've met, and I've heard it's pretty high. San Diego County produces 60% of all California avocados. California burrito originated in San Diego, and it's definitely a best weather than Germany. And it has great museums, such as the San Diego Art Museum, on which I saw this beautiful painting from Sorolla, Joaquin Sorolla, and the Spanish painter. And I'm going to leave you guys with one last phrase, which is Heimat ist kein Ort, sondern Dimension. Home is not a place, but rather the people. So that will be all, and thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan Jose. That was great.
Thank you. I learned some new facts. The brothels in Amsterdam and Norway, and very fascinating.
Yeah, so my time has been great in Europe, and I can wait to travel way more on 2023. There are still many countries that I would like to visit, and when I do so, I'll keep you guys updated for sure.
And I want to know, when do you work? That was a lot. That's great.
Good question. My boss will have the very same question. I mostly work like from 9 to 5. The good thing about the company is that it allows me to do some remote work. So most of my trips have been me working remotely and just visiting the place after the shift is done.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's
And your time difference isn't as much as it is like trying to work from here, right?
Oh yeah. From here, it's sort of pretty challenging, as I have to work from midnight up until 6 a.m. But when I work around Europe, it's most of the time the same time zone, or just 1 hour difference, so it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, but you said what you do in the middle of your shift is you go sleep, and then you check your email to see if there's any emergency things that have to be addressed, and if there isn't, you go back to sleep.
That's how it is. So that's what I've been doing now. I go to sleep around 10 or 11. Then I set an alarm like every hour and a half, and if I check my email. If there is something that requires my immediate attention, I will stand up and just open my computer. But if I see that it's something that I can do some other time, that is not urgent, that I can do when the morning, around 8 a.m., I will do so. So far, out of the 8 days that I've been working here, it has worked for 5 days. So there are 3 days I've had meetings, but it is what it is.
So what do you do for them?
So mostly I work for an energy company that produces fiber and electricity cables. I work in the commercial department, but in the procurement department. So to produce these cables, you need to buy copper, you need to buy aluminum, PVC, and many other much metals and raw materials. So I'm in charge of speaking with the vendors, negotiating with them, and making sure that we get this at the right price and at the right time for the plant, so that they can produce the cables and sell them. So I'm a buyer.
So where are most of your materials from? Like which countries do you get things from?
Okay, so when it comes to copper, Chile is one of the biggest vendors. There is a couple of vendors in Africa and Europe as well that allows that supplies to us, but Chile, it's huge in terms of copper. In terms of raw materials, so chemical materials, there are huge vendors in China as well, in Europe. So mostly we try to work with vendors that are closer to us, because that means that their delivery times will be shorter than other vendors.
Mm-hmm. What about the PVC?
I'm sorry?
What about the pipes? Did you say PVC?
Correct, PVC as well.
Where do you get that?
Mainly as well in Europe. Some old vendors as well from the States, because they can provide a competitive price, but mainly Europe as well.
And where's the biggest manufacturing plant for your company?
Actually, one of the biggest ones is located in is called Schwerin, which is a little town close to Hamburg. And it's one of the best ones because it's so efficient that the plant works with the same prices. With this, I mean, the fixed costs are similar to a plant in Romania or Slovakia, where labor prices, labor costs are lower. So we can produce cables with German quality, which is known and which is a really big plus within the industry, at a cost for like a Romanian country, or like, yeah, not German country. So that's one of the biggest plus of this plant, and it's really big within the operation.
So, but this is an Italian company,
It is an
right?
Italian company, yeah.
Yeah. So what do they do in Italy?
In Italy, it's the headquarters, mainly the administrative headquarters. They also have a couple of plants over there, but the Italy market is not as big. Mainly Germany has a big share, as well as United States. I got to work for the United States operation for a while, and it is, I will say, even bigger than the whole Latin American market, because the spend over here is huge.
So where in the United States is it?
The headquarters are located in Highland Heights in Ohio.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky.
Where my parents are. The headquarters are 6 miles from the high school where my parents were high school sweethearts.
So did you go there, or you? I
no,
know you were
it was
supposed
remote.
to go there.
It was remote. I worked for the US operation, but mostly remotely. I was supposed to go there, but sadly, my visa wasn't approved. And that's why Germany came to, was the second option that I took.
Well, when you
So-
meet my cousin and my second cousin, Brian, Kevin, they live really near Highland Heights. I think
Right.
they live like 2 miles from Highland Heights.
Wow.
I mean, that's where my cousin grew up, and that's where I visited him every summer.
Nice. So
Yeah.
I'll get to talk to him about.
So talking about electronic cable, my job in Berlin in 1961-62, that winter, which by the way was very cold, but I got a job with Siemens Kabelwerke, putting insulation around cables in Berlin, because my parents cut me off because I didn't come home when I was supposed to in 1962. If you want to get a feeling for how cold it was then, the movie The Bridge of Spies with Tom Hanks is supposedly portrays a spy swap that winter that I was there, and it shows them going out on a bridge at midnight. I couldn't believe it. It would have been a bitter cold. Yes, the best thing to do is leave.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
So who's your biggest customers?
It really depends on the market we're talking about. In the US, mainly construction, high voltage cables that will go, for instance, to like I don't know how to say it. Yeah, like to big energy projects around the country. That's where the spend is. In Germany, it's also energy transmission projects, and as well as our automotive industry. So we also supply all kinds of cables for automotive, and in Germany it's huge. So Volkswagen, it's one of the biggest clients that we have over there.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You showed the pictures of the Grand Square in Brussels. The founder of our history group, Ramsey and Janet, took us there. How many years ago, Aiko? 3, maybe?
Yeah, just before the pandemic, I think.
Yeah, just before the pandemic, and we went there. We were on a Karl Marx tour. So, Juan Jose, a capitalist like yourself would be horrified, I'm sure. But it was Karl Marx's 200th birthday, and we went to Trier, that's on the Mosel River, where Karl Marx was born in 1818. So yeah, so we were there in 2018. Karl Marx spent a lot of time in Brussels, and his favorite place to go was a tavern on the square, the Swan, right? Iko, what was it called? The something Swan. And we went in there. Now it's a fancy restaurant. And we went
Yeah,
in.
he would be rolling in his grave thinking about what happened to that place because it's so upscale.
It's so upscale, but guess whose portrait hangs over the fireplace? Karl Marx portrait at this fancy restaurant on that square. You would have passed by it.
I'm pretty sure.
Juan Jose.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
So what country that you've traveled to was the most expensive and which one was the cheapest?
So by far the most expensive one would be Norway. It's unbelievable expensive. Even going to
Really?
a store and just get random groceries will be probably 40% more expensive than in Germany. So yeah, Norway pretty expensive. And the cheapest one so far, I would say Czech Republic. The beer was amazingly cheap and high quality.
Uh-huh. And we asked Juan Jose about his apartment. I guess you've got a pretty nice big place there in Dusseldorf, right?
Oh yeah. So it's 65 square meters. Let me see what 65 square meters into feet. A square foot. Okay, so it says it's 699, but I think that's not possible.
Well, we'll calculate this and update our audience.
Yeah, we'll calculate it
at a future meeting.
But you've got a bedroom and a living room and a kitchen, right? And a
correct.
bath.
And a bathroom and a balcony as well, all in different rooms. So it's quite big.
How many stories up?
Second floor.
Second story. So do you have elevators in those buildings or?
It's not normal, but lucky enough, I was able to find one with elevator.
Oh yeah, you were lucky because a lot of buildings don't have elevators.
Yeah, many do not.
So I have a comment about the Turks coming to Germany. So as I said, I was there my junior year at Stanford in Germany, near Stuttgart. And we were taking a trip, our little class, to Italy, and we went to the train station in Stuttgart where we had reserved seats. And we went to go to our reserved seats, and they were all occupied by Turks. They were what was called Gastarbeiters.
Okay.
Guest workers, right? Because after World War II, guess what? There was this huge manpower shortage because so many men had died. So they needed workers. And that is the genesis of the Turkish presence. And of course, it's a very productive migration, because remember, it was a couple of Turks whose biotechnical company produced the first mRNA vaccine in cooperation with Pfizer. And they were smart enough to hire the Hungarian woman who discovered that you could deliver messenger RNA into the human cell. She figured that you could do it into animal cells in the 1990s, but the problem was delivering it into human cells because the immune system kept whatever they wrapped the messenger RNA into, our immune system would break it down. And she kept working and working for 20 years until she figured out how to do it. And then she approached these Turks who had started a biotech business in Germany. And they said, yeah, this is doable. They did it. And then they went into partnership with Pfizer. And the rest is history. So there's amazing connections between that Turkish immigration in the 1950s and 60s to replace dead German soldiers and the development of messenger RNA.
Wow.
Jim Teisel joined us. Welcome, Jim. Anyway, are there any other questions?
So how much vacation time do you get? Do you get European
Oh, that's the best. 30 days. Business days.
30 days right off the bat?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How many vacation days did you get in Colombia?
16 business days.
16. Okay, so half, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's a huge improvement.
Yeah. Wow, that is very nice.
And how many,
And
how
you get paid.
I'm sorry?
many do we get in the United States? Pretty sad.
Oh yeah, I think in the States it's not as many vacations, right?
Right.
No, 2
Especially
weeks.
when you
When
start.
you start. When you
Wow.
start.
So,
But
Juan
you know,
Jose,
you
did
do
you
it.
learn German? Did you learn German before you went?
No, I've been taking classes since April. I already know how to say the basic stuff. I mean, if I go to a restaurant or I go to buy groceries, or if I need to ask something in the street, I know how to do the small talk. But still to a technical level, like a business level, I'm not able to do so yet. I do have classes every single day with a professor from Berlin. And so yeah, we'll get there.
That's impressive.
Tell them though that you know Juan Jose was the one who got this job competing against 800 people,
Oh
and
yeah.
they were impressed with his ability to speak Portuguese and Spanish and English. And do you know any other languages?
No, that'll be all.
Well, that's
those
way
are
more
good.
than most of us.
Yeah. And so he'll be adding German to it.
Hopefully, it's pretty challenging, but I think with discipline and hard work, one is able to get it.
Well, you're young, so it won't be hard to memorize things.
Yeah.
So where are you going to go next? And are you going to keep going back to Iceland to try and find the Northern Lights?
I'm not giving up. So for this coming year, I would like to go to Italy, France, Hungary. I will also want to go to the UK. But until winter ends, I would like to go to East Asia to get some more warmth and escape from the German winter. So yeah, those are the trips that I have in my head as of now, but many trips coming up as well.
You're going to be a world traveler.
Hopefully.
How do they warm, like, how do you warm your apartment? Is it coal or is it gas or?
So the one that I live in has this the floor. On the floor they have a heating on the floor, and that's how it gets warmed. I don't really know if it's by gas, by water. Yeah, it's water, hot water. that runs through pipes throughout the building.
There's probably been Russian hydrocarbons that have warmed the water.
Yeah.
That's going to change with the new site and the new era that the Germans have embraced, given the war in Ukraine. So keeping your apartment warm is going to be costlier this winter.
Yeah, it's gonna be more expensive for sure. But I'm lucky because I'm gonna be here in the States for 1 month, and I managed to rent my place for 1 month as well.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Who wants to come to Germany in the dead of winter?
It was a couple from Australia who was transferred to Düsseldorf, and the dates worked perfectly. So they're staying at my place for 1 month. So it's like I'm not paying rent at the moment.
Oh, wow, that's very lucky. I bet they're freezing though, because they're Australians.
Yeah, they're freezing big time.
Uh,
Okay, well, any more questions? Well,
No, thanks. It's just really good to see you, Juan Jose.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's very good to see you. So you're in San Diego, so you can take up surfing in the month that you're here.
Yeah. I've been running through Solana Beach, and it's just beautiful. It's
Oh, good.
something else.
yeah.
Good. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Enjoy Europe.
I tell you, Juan Jose special, one out of 800. That's how special it is.
yeah.
I think they're lucky. They're probably lucky to have gotten him. So
I think so. I think.
Congratulations.
Only 1 in a million.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to see the next slideshow. Keep
Okay.
taking photos. Yeah.
Have fun. Enjoy. Happy holidays.
Yep. Bye,
Happy
all.
holidays, you guys. It was nice
Thank
seeing you
you.
again.
See you next year.
See you next year. Stay safe and enjoy your holidays.
Right. Bye.
But
Bye.
Bye bye.